Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
Well, they say it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know Show. I am Jim McPhee, and right there in the new studio is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, know-it-alls? You know what time it is. It's time to talk some football because 2025 season is happening tomorrow night to kick it off with the Cowboys and Eagles. And oh my God, Jim, it's been yet another long offseason. And man, have we had some crazy twists, turns, awkward situations.
Awkward
To say
situations,
the
right?
least. But man, what full of entertainment though. Was full of entertainment, and I can't wait to get this season started. And hopefully, good luck to all the teams out there that are looking to get it right this year. And then for all the other teams that are still trying to figure things out, just hope you guys get better step by step.
Yeah, absolutely. I just hope my team doesn't just suck right away. So I'm looking for some growth here, Joe, right? You know, because again, it's been brutal for the last decade or so. But who knows? I mean, like you said, this season's going to be pretty crazy. The off season's been crazy. And this season could get really nutty too, depending on where some teams lie. And with some of the, backup quarterbacks that are out too, do we see some of the rookies start? Do we, see some other guys, Kirk Cousins, will he be traded somewhere? Like, who knows, man? So there's a lot of different stuff that can go down. Tyreek Hill, will he be traded? If things don't work out there. So a lot of different things to see. I'm excited. Week one's got a lot of big matchups here. But before we get into it, I got a couple, different just kind of storylines we can go through here and see what you guys think out there. Like always, drop a comment. We love it when you guys comment out there. We'll answer any questions you guys got out there too, because basically, I think this whole offseason, we've covered just about every freaking thing under the sky, right, Joe? I mean, so what else is there to talk about except for the season is finally starting? Let's get it going.
No stone has, we've turned over every single stone. We've looked at every little bit of information and kind of diagnosed it down to a fraction. And we just can't wait to now get to really have some fun during the season kicking off. We're going to be able to talk about everything during game reviews, just like we normally do, game picks on this show. If you're new to the show and you want to be part of the know-it-all nation that is around us, we encourage you to do so. Head over to our channel, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and share it. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and spread the word. This is going into our 8th year, Jim.
8 years.
So 8 years of covering the NFL. And we've had a lot of laughs. We've had some disagreements. I mean, because not, a partnership here. You're not always going to see eye to eye, but in the end, we are truly best friends and doing the show and doing it right. Want you guys to become part of this thing. And just remember also, we are live right now. So anytime you comment down below, we're going to give you a shout out. We're going to address what you want to address, whether it be a question or if you just got an opinion, feel free to do so. And here we go. We got our first guy to chime in here, Nathan. Nathan, what's going on? I go Cowboys winning tomorrow night. Oh, there we go. Prediction already. He says,
coming from a Cowboys fan,
he says the Cowboys are going to win without having defensive ends. Without having proven, I'll say this, without having proven defensive ends. DeMarcus Lawrence gone. Micah Parsons now not a part of the defense. So I'm very curious to see when we get down to the nitty gritty of it. I'm very curious to see and watch that game between the Cowboys and Eagles, just to see on the Cowboys side of things, now not having Micah, how much different that defense is going to look.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. We'll get to picks in a little bit. I know everybody's excited. By the way, too, again, represent your team out there. He says,
oh yeah,
says Micah who,
Go.
So yeah, even in the chat, just represent your team. Who tell us who you are and what team you represent out there. So we love it out there. So
sure.
But before we get into some of the questions I have for you too, I wanted to see what your opinion was, because in this off season we got to see kind of like the preview of our first now season with the electronic Hawkeye vision here in the ball and the first downs. What did you think about how they utilized it in the preseason? And if you think it's going to be uh better, I mean, are kind of weird. I mean, because there was at times where I feel like they overused it when they didn't need to, and I don't know if they're going to try and do that into a game or not. But when the ball's close, a lot of times they would just be like automatic first down, right? They'd be like, oh yeah, it's fine, we don't need to measure, it's there, but it seemed like they did it a little more often in preseason. I wondered what you thought about it, because the only way to see it is visually, just a graphic on the screen. Everybody in the stadium and everybody at home can see it and stuff.
Yeah.
It determines from that. But what do you think?
So, couple things. For one, the process of it has to be drastically sped up. I mean, that's one thing. I thought it was way too delayed to get a call. Felt like you're sitting there for 5 minutes before they even decide if it's a first down or not. Um, I can only assume that the NFL, this was a trial thing too, right? Like they were using it in the preseason games to kind of see how it would work. And they're going to work out some of the kinks, that's for sure. Like it's not going to be as delayed. I don't feel when we get into the season, this weekend and whatnot. So I mean, any close call, it has to be used. I mean, it's a necessity. We cannot rely on the referees to make a judgment call on the spot of the ball or where exactly, is it a first down? Is it not a first down? Any close calls, I definitely expect them to use it. But for obvious ones, they won't need to. They'll just, they'll call it and keep the game moving. But I definitely think that they drastically the amount of time that it takes to see it and then make the call has to be sped up dramatically.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing that always, again, I'm always a skeptic, I guess, going into these things, just because technology fails all the time. How many times do we look at computers are trying to fix things to make it go faster? Then you're like, dude, I'm stuck on a loading screen, or I just lost my connection, or this and this. And you're looking at this Hawkeye system that apparently has, 8K cameras around it all over, about a chip that's in the ball. And we're going to rely on this whole system. I know the chain gain's still there, still in case of an emergency
For
and stuff.
backup,
But
yep.
like you said, that like their whole thing behind this was to try and make it 30 seconds as opposed to 75 seconds, what they say with the chain game. But
Mhm.
it seemed like in this preseason, again, they took a bit longer. We're kind of like, dude, what is taking forever? Even announcers, again, when announcers call you out, there's an issue. And we started this whole conversation in this type of technology because of it. I think, again, everybody at home noticing, everybody in the stands, and then even announcers, Joe Buck and those guys even say like, wow,
Right.
what are they sitting there talking about already? It's clear as day what the call is. What are they doing? Why are they stopping now? So I just hope, again, it's not, dragged out and all this other nonsense and all this crap.
No, and I think that's part of the reason why they used it in preseason, and they
Mhm.
might have overused it just because they're trying to figure some things out and trying to speed up the process and whatnot. I think it's a
Mhm.
great technology. I think of
I
course
think it'd
I
be pretty
want it.
cool, and we'll get used to it eventually.
Of course I want to use it because I'm sorry, I have no trust in these referees. I don't. They make way too many mistakes, even when it's just pure calls. Whether they miss a play or they call a penalty that didn't deserve to be called, or vice versa. So, yeah, give me the technology. It has sensors inside the football. Cool. That way, I know where the point of the balls should be, and if it's a first down or not. Instead of having the index card um,
Yeah, the
type of
index
call,
card
where
incident.
come on.
Come
So
on, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's
absolutely.
let's let's move on with that. Like I'm curious to see how it improves over the season too, because yeah, there's going to be some mishaps, and there might be some things that need to be dialed in, but I do like the idea, and I hope it enhances the game.
Mhm. Absolutely, Joe. So, all right, let's get into some of the questions I have here for this upcoming season. There's been a bunch of different quarterbacks here that started for another team last year, but now are starting for a new team. I decided to select a few here, and I want to run it by you and everybody in the chat again, and watching. Light up the chat, answer the questions. It's fine. We want to see your guys' opinion out there. So I've got who will have the better season and better year out of these second-year quarterbacks or year quarterbacks that are playing with another team? Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, or Geno Smith?
That's a good one. What I will say is I don't have a lot of trust in Daniel Jones, even though he's on a new team, earned the job to start. I don't know. Like he just seems to make way too many, mental mistakes, and I think that's going to still creep up on him. He's going to make some plays, but again, I still think he's going to make mistakes. Sam Darnold, he has one really good year of production, and you look at how he struggled down the stretch with Minnesota and basically cost them the games and now you go to a new environment, a new team, new offensive philosophy, new teammates to throw to, and it's
Mhm.
like a lot of change there, and for him to step in there right away and make a major impact. Again, I think that Seattle team as well offensively has gone through the ringer a little bit. They've moved on from Tyler Lockett. They've moved on from
Mhm.
DK Metcalf. So, I mean, who's Sam Darnold going to really key on? It's Smith and Jibba is what I assume he's going to lock on and be his favorite target, but we don't know that. So, um, I think he's going to go through a little bit of struggles. So I don't think Sam Darnold's the guy. Russell Wilson to me and Geno Smith pop out on this list to me. Russell Wilson, yes, was with Pittsburgh. Everybody was wondering what was going on. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? He ends up going to free agency, goes to the New York Giants. And now he's got like kind of I would say this, like he's got an
Mhm.
upgrade in a sense. You look at Malik Neighbors, if you're trying to compare Neighbors and George um, um,
George
Pickens,
Pickens. Yep.
it's not even close. Like Malik Neighbors is elite. Malik Neighbors is that guy, that difference maker for you at receiver. So for the first time since DK Metcalf, you could say that even Malik Neighbors is probably better than DK Metcalf. And now Russell Wilson is going to be throwing to him and the other guys that are in there. When
Mhm. Mhm.
Wan'Dale Robinson and they brought back Darius Slayton, which I still don't get that, but neither do you. Um, but they're
Uh,
going to make him part of the team again. So
mhm.
he's got some weapons, and they got it looks like a good young backfield. So I'm kind of excited to see what Russell Wilson can do with the Giants and that defense that they have. And then Geno Smith for the Raiders. Geno Smith is not as bad, or I should say, he gets a lot of he gets a lot of negativity thrown his way, and it's interesting because Geno Smith is probably one of the better quarterbacks. I would say, like, he's not top 10, but man, he's, like, somewhere between 11 and 15. Like, he is a very good quarterback, he's more than capable, and I think Geno Smith with now some new weapons, a more complete team around him, and a guy's that he's got some young weapons to utilize. Brock Bowers obviously there, Jacoby Myers. So uh, I think Geno Smith is going to have a really good year offensively. So I mean, if I had to pick between those two, I think I would take Geno Smith just because I he has a little bit more lively of an arm than Russell Wilson. And they both bring some kind of mobility, but man, I think Geno Smith, he's just so accurate and he has that arm and I like him to have a successful season. I don't think now I'm not saying Russell Wilson's not going to have a successful season, but I'm just saying like if I'm picking out of these guys, like to me, Geno shows the most promise, and you look at what's around him to distribute the football with. I think that's a pretty easy one for me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a tough one because again, the guys listed in this list here are basically on redemption songs here, right? Daniel Jones trying to make a name for himself and trying to leave the past behind of what was the New York Giants here and trying to renew his career and trying to
Mhm.
change the narrative here and what he was. Sam Darnold had a good year last year, trying to prove to everybody again that he could do it again with another franchise and have longevity in his career. Russell Wilson, not given a shot here with the Broncos again. So moved to the Steelers, was able to perform well in the Steelers, but as time went on and in the playoffs, didn't play as well. So now he's found a new team in the Giants here and has, like you said, it's got an elite wide receiver to get to, somebody who hasn't had a wide receiver like that since, like you said, DK Metcalf. And we think that, potentially Malik Neighbors could be better. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. He is awesome, so, and it's only after 1 year. So we hope that, again, he's going to get better after this. And Geno Smith, yeah, absolutely. Another redemption song, a guy who was drafted by the Jets, you know what I mean? And played for them for a little bit, got in fist fights with guys in the locker room, went to Seattle again, named the starter, so learned the system. So again, when people gave up on him, he stepped up and really performed and did well and surprised me. Absolutely. And it has been a solid quarterback. Now it's top 11, 15. I think you might be smoking a little bit. Something.
No, not at all.
A lot of different quarterbacks.
Go ahead and look. I went back and looked.
There's 32 teams in the NFL, but I don't think he's top 11.
Oh, he's top 15. 100%.
Perhaps, but
100%, bro.
Okay, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. Right?
No,
you can have your opinion. Not give my opinion.
I looked.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it was certain stats
research.
or whatever, but you can research whatever you want. It's whatever you like, whatever you think in a certain quarterback. But I just don't think he's a top 15 or top 11 at this point. So at this point, though, here with the Raiders, I think it's going to be a little different from him. He doesn't have the crutch that is, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Smith and Jigba. So I think he's going to take a downhill tick too as well. So I think out of this list here, it's got to be Russell Wilson for me again, just because the talent around him and the situation that he's in. And to which, the defense, I think, is going to help him out here too. So that not a lot of pressure to try and score points all the time and do this. I think they'll be able to stay more of a balanced offense. So I think he's kind of set up a little better for him. All right, we got comments in there. We've got Cynthia Blair is watching from Nova Scotia. How about that, Joe?
Pretty fancy.
Yeah. That's, I think, a new one. I'm not sure, so that's good. Nathan says Geno is due for a good season. All right. So he's due for a good season. He's had a lot of good seasons. I agree too. 15 for sure. No opinion. It's a fact. Oh man. Okay. Whatever, Nate, I know they legalized marijuana in New York, but you guys all don't have to smoke it here. So anyways, move on to second year quarterbacks, Joe. All right. Second year quarterbacks. We're going to play a little game of slump, bump, or get over the hump. All right. So this is what this is. We've got the list of second year quarterbacks here: Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix Jr., Drake May. All right. You got to go through. We're going to go through each one. You're going to tell them if there's going to be a slump this season, or it's going to be a bump in the season, or they're just going to get over the hump a little bit here. So let's start right off with Jaden Daniels. Joe, Jaden Daniels for the Commanders. What do you think?
Jaden Daniels is not going to have a dip in his production in this season. He, what's going to help him too, more than any other pocket quarterback, is the fact that he's mobile. So even if a defensive coordinator is able to figure out his tendencies or what he likes to do in the passing game, you can't account for that speed and athleticism that he has locked in his chamber and ready to go, let it go. So, yeah, Jaden Daniels is going to have another successful season. So I guess get over the hump. Is that what that is about?
No, I say bump, or just barely get over whatever, have an okay season. You know what I mean? So basically tick, basically stay the same or just get there, or bump is like a bump up in production.
Well, we'll go bump then.
All right. You like the bump. There you go. So,
I love bump.
You love the bump, doing the bump. Oh, all right. So next we've got Bo Nix for the Broncos. I know you predicted them to take the division here. So what do you think about Bo Nix?
Yeah. So for Bo Nix, again, he's going to have one of the best defenses around for him to battle with. And if you go back to the last season with Bo Nix, I was a naysayer of Bo Nix last year. As a rookie, coming in as a rookie, I didn't think he was going to do much. I didn't think he was going to be able to help the team out a lot, at least in his first year. And he proved me wrong last year. He struggled early on in the season, and then something clicked with him. Something clicked in the offense. He felt more comfortable as we got to the middle part of the season. You started to see him come out of the shell, distributing the football, uh, stretching it down the football field as we got down into the latter portion of the season. You started Things started to open up a little bit more, and Sean Payton gained more and more confidence every week with him. So going into this season, they are stronger on defense than they were last year. They've made some key additions. And then you got Bo Nix, who's been working with a young wide receiving core, minus obviously Cortland Sutton, but that's his go-to guy. But one of the best offensive lines in the league, he's standing behind. He's got some key players in the running back position. J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey's a rookie, but looks pretty good in this offseason. So I got nothing else to think about. But like that, I think Bo Nix is going to do very, very well. I think he's going to definitely take a bump. He's going to snort a bump this season and just take off.
I tell you, sometimes when he gets fired up and starts yelling at Sean Payton, looks like he might have, snorted a bump and went after him. So, all right. So next up, we've got Caleb Williams, Joe, with the Bears. What do you think about Caleb Williams? Slump, bump, or get over the hump?
Caleb Williams is an interesting player because coming out of the draft, I mean, if anybody paid attention to our draft special and how we covered Caleb Williams, you would know that I am not the biggest fan of Caleb Williams. I really don't think he's that good. I think the hype was too much, and it was spread all over the place about him, about how he's going to be a difference maker, going to take a team to the Super Bowl, all this stuff. Now, that's all said now, but we don't know what his end goal is here with Caleb Williams. We don't know if he will turn out to be a starter for them for future years to come. But I'll tell you right now, we saw a lot of negative out of college football, and now he's playing on the big stage in the NFL. Where if you watched some games, he showed flashes. Don't get me wrong, he definitely did show flashes. However, there was numerous times where he would just hold on to the ball too long. And in a simplified offense, by the way, last year, now you're coming into this year with Ben Johnson, who runs kind of like it's not really super complex, but man, is it in fine detail, a playbook of his magnitude. So, Caleb Williams is going to have to learn big time on his playbook, and he's already struggled this all season. We've seen it. Ben Johnson's had press conferences basically complaining about Caleb, how he's got to get locked in. He's got to, start executing the plays that are called and go through your progressions and always, utilize your mechanics and whatnot. So I have a hard time believing that in his first year under Ben Johnson, he's going to have a bump in success and be a guy that the Chicago fans would love to see him turn out to be. But I still think that he's going to actually still have a slump this season. He's got a great defense to rely on, that's for sure. But there's no excuses around him. Like, offensive line has been
Mhm.
improved. He still has all those weapons around him and in the backfield with DeAndre Swift. But I just think that he's still going to, be a little bit unstable, going to be not as comfortable as you'd like him to be, learning this new offense and trying to get it down. And this, for the first time in this offense, he is being asked to go through your progressions. He's never really been forced to do that. Now he is. And if he doesn't pan out, I mean, I definitely don't think Ben Johnson's the type to mess around and say, "Oh, well, we'll give him another year. We'll give him another year. Eventually he'll get it." No, I think he's going to be kind of like quick to judge. So maybe not this year, but in his second year in the offense, the following year, he still doesn't do well. Ben Johnson might pull the plug on him, and because it's really not his guy, so
Yeah.
might pull the plug and they might move on.
Yeah, and he's openly come out and said, he's like, "Listen, I'm not spoon feeding you stuff and this and that.
Right.
So we're just let's move on." So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, Joe. So Michael Penix Jr., his first full season kind of starting here. You know,
Right.
he started a few games last year, but now has the full reins of the Atlanta Falcons here. So what do you expect for him? What do you think?
So Michael Penix Jr. I like the kid. Coming out of the same draft that Caleb Williams was coming out of, he to me he had all the purpose. He had all the mechanics. He had smarts. He was probably one of the most accurate passers coming out of that draft, if not the most accurate. And he had one really bad game, and it seemed to tarnish his whole career. It was kind of hilarious to watch as a person that kind of evaluates talent. Everybody was harping on the Michigan game, and he just kind of fell flat on his face and was make costing
Mhm.
causing turnovers left and right. But Penix now that he's on the big stage, now he's gotten a whole year literally under his belt, sitting behind Kirk Cousins for the most part. Yeah, he got in there for a few games at the end of the year last year, and he did show some promise then. But having that veteran there for at least just 1 year, and now he's piggybacking still with the Atlanta Falcons. So it's like you're still going to have that veteran leadership, a guy that he can turn to. You know, even since last year, now still on the roster. I think it's going to be incredibly big time for Michael Penix to lean on him whenever he needs to, if he has any questions or whatnot. But Michael Penix overall, I gotta say, I'm very excited for the Atlanta Falcons. I think he's going to do really well. Um, I don't want to is get over the hump like kind of just average. Like, is
Yeah, or
that what
get
that is?
yeah, or gets like slightly, you know what I mean, better. So like I
So
say,
I
like I
guess
think Michael Penix Jr. fits in the get over the hump, you know, because
yeah,
again,
like
a little bit of last year not so didn't play so well, but I think this year I think he takes a little bit of a tick and kind of gets it. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think
So
he's gonna play well. I just don't know, if he's gonna be asked to do too much.
mhm,
You know
mhm,
what I mean? He
mhm.
has guys around him to help him, so I don't think he's gonna be forced to, like, be the you know,
Yeah.
immediately be a top 10 quarterback.
Right,
Like, I
right,
don't think it's gonna
right.
have to do that. He's gonna have to rely on Bijan Robinson in the run
Mhm,
game and whatnot, so but I do think he's gonna get over the hump, so to speak. Like,
mhm,
he's gonna
mhm.
be a little bit above average, and it might be enough for Atlanta to make some noise in the NFL.
All right. And finally, Drake May with the Patriots again started last year for a bit and again got banged up a little, but again, all new regime there. More talent. They brought in defensive players, they brought in a lot of different guys. Stefan Diggs is in the house. What do you expect here for year two of Drake May?
So for Drake May, I liked a lot of his film from last year as a rookie. He didn't force anything. He was pretty smart with the football, ran when he had to run, and people were surprised. You look at the guy in his stature, he's a big quarterback. He's 6'5", like 230, but the dude runs like the wind still. So it's pretty baffling when you when you watch him. But again, he's another young player coming into a second year where I think he's going to have a bump this year in terms of his play on the football field, and also like he has extra help now. Like they went out and they went after the wide receivers that were available. They brought in Stephon Diggs, like you mentioned. They have a couple of familiar faces in that group still. Pop Douglas being one of them. Kind of expect him to kind of be like a little bit of a dark horse this year in the slot. Think he's going to get fed the ball a lot. And Drake May, you could see him. The stage wasn't too big for him last year, and going into this year, you have a whole other off season. You got plenty of experience last year, which was good for him.
Hmm.
Now like he has a better chance of like adjusting to the speed of the game as we conclude the off season, going into the regular season, way more comfortable as a quarterback in the NFL. He has his teammates. He's gotten great chemistry with them. So, and the offensive line, which was really porous, has been upgraded. So, and don't forget, they also took a running back who is a speed demon and Travion Henderson
Hmm.
that I think is going to pay huge dividends for them this year as a rookie. So I'm really excited about the Patriots offense and Drake May and what he can accomplish. So I think that Drake May is another guy that I would give a bump to. I think he's going to have
Hmm.
a bump in production, and the Patriots aren't going to be that team. People aren't going to expect this Patriots team. I'll just tell you that. Like
Mhm.
I think that they're going to do much better than maybe some people are anticipating.
Yeah, and it's funny now watching, the Patriots now, post Belichick Brady. Now that they've hit rock bottom or whatever, and kind of come down to earth. I
Mhm.
don't mind rooting for him a little bit now too. Now it's like the hatred's gone, so I know where that stemmed to. I guess you know what I mean. You're kind of like, oh man, the freaking Patriots are in the Super Bowl every freaking year. Blah blah. Blah. I can't stand them. Uh, there's no real hatred anymore. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
like what you have with rivals, like, you know what I mean? Like you always hate like the Chiefs or whatever. I always hate the Cowboys. You know what I mean? No matter what they do, whether they suck still or if they're gonna
Mhm.
win the championship or not, I'll still just not like them, you know. So what's funny is the Patriots again now watching them post Brady, post Belichick, and I like Drake May. I would have liked it if the Giants had drafted him last year, but it all falls into play, and Jackson Dart looks pretty good so far for them in the preseason. But we shall
Yeah.
see if we see any of Mr. Dart this season. All right, so again, guys, like I said, we're bringing up these questions here, live them up in the chat here too. Again, you guys can answer them too. You can agree, disagree, whatever you guys think. We love it out there. I know Nate was playing along with us, laughing at some of the interactions that Joe and I have, but it's all fun. All right, so before we get into our picks, I'm going to pose this question because I think some of these games, even though it's week one, I think some will matter to most or to a few, um, just because of position and where they are, how tough their schedule is, how tough their competition is within the division. So I'm going to pose the question, which team needs to win the most week one? I'm going to say one of the teams I think has got to be the Kansas City Chiefs, just because they're going to be without Rashee Rice for a few weeks. And not only do they have to play the Los Angeles Chargers, who I feel have gotten better, they're poised, looking to try and challenge for this division. But then next week, you've got the Eagles. You get an easy one, I guess, technically with the Giants, but the Giants could potentially play them hard. Week 4, you've got the Ravens, and then week 6, you've got the Lions. So you've got the Lions, the Ravens, and Eagles after the Chargers here. So your schedule isn't going to get really great until after that Lions game. So I think to get any win that they can against some of these other good teams, and especially a division rival, I think is very important for like this Chiefs team to kind of set their spot here for the playoff run.
I'm going to say the Steelers playing the Jets. This is a team
Really?
that not so many people are too excited about. Like obviously, Steeler fans are super excited because they got the guy that seems like he's aging, but slow aging Aaron Rodgers, and not he doesn't move as well, but he can still sling the rock. So they're putting all their eggs in their basket on him and hoping that he can kind of get them back to their winning ways and maybe compete for the division this year. Because let's face it, by signing Aaron Rodgers, they think that they are a contender right now. They've made the moves that they made, and then trading for DK Metcalf.
Hmm.
They're all in. They're
Yeah.
all in this year. They've made a trade for Patrick Ramsey, like
Hmm.
or Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen
Like
Ramsey.
they've
Yep.
done so many moves, and the moves that they made are telling everybody, like, hey, no, we think we can win right now. So the Steelers going up against the Jets, if you do not win the Jets against the Jets, and in the very difficult division that you're in, you need all the wins you can get to stay in the hunt. So week one is where it starts. If the Steelers start 0-1 and they lost to the Jets, there's going to be a lot of talk next week, and including on this show, about, whoa, if they can't beat the Jets right now, then who are they going to be able to beat? Because they made
Hmm.
all these moves, and now it's like now they're already behind the 8 ball and they're 0-1. I know it's only one game, it's only week one, but man, you can't start the season like this. If you envision your team as a contender and ready to win now, against the Jets, who have a new quarterback, new coaching staff, a lot of new stuff there, especially offensively. Oh, yeah. And by the way, Elijah Vera Tucker's out for the season for that team.
Hmm.
Like they just lost a key offensive lineman. So if you're telling me we wake up, Monday morning and the Steelers lost to the Jets, we're going to have some conversations.
Oh yeah. That's that would be an embarrassment because again, that's what you did. You went and go and grab Aaron Rodgers from the Jets to improve your team, and like you said, you look like you're going all in. So I didn't think of that one, but that's interesting too. That's an interesting take on that. Which would make sense though too, because of what it kind of means all together for the organization and moving forward in that tough division. I was going to stay with that division too as well, and then basically say the Cincinnati Bengals though, because how many times do we see them start off the season slow? They actually started starters in this preseason early to try and maybe break that off of them. You know what I mean? Get rid of the boogeyman that's been on their back for so long. But they've got the Browns who have a pretty good defense. But again, there's questions at quarterback, offense. But that's a game they must win or should win, but they have to. They can't get a slow start here because, again, luckily for them, week 1, Baltimore is playing the Bills, so there's potential that the Bills could beat Baltimore. But even say Baltimore loses, they still need to win this game, the Bengals do, because it doesn't get easier after this. Yes, you got the Jags after that, but then you got the teams like the Vikings, the Broncos, the Lions, the Packers. You know what I mean? The Steelers are coming up. So a lot of tough games early on again. And for a team that starts off slow, you need to kind of get those first 2 wins at least under your belt before you can face these other challenging teams and get some key wins here. Because if Baltimore takes that victory week 1 against the Bills, it could get rough here for the Bengals early once again. And then potentially we're talking maybe Zach Taylor again on the hot seat.
Jim, I mean, this is what the Bengals do. They start off 0-4, and then they'll come back in the season and they'll be double-digit winners again and going into the playoffs.
Or just missed the playoffs like last year.
I mean, I'm not concerned about them. And honestly, like, I think going against the Browns, like, that's going to be a really good matchup. People might overlook this game and just say, oh, Bengals are easily going to win. I don't think so. Like, people need to start giving credit to Joe Flacco and what he's capable of doing because the guy can throw the football. And anywhere he's been, you pull him off the couch. What does he do? Succeed and win games. Now he's with the Cleveland Browns. What is he going to do there? He's got some young, talented receivers that he can throw to. He's got a young backfield that he can utilize. And David Njoku, if everybody remembers, when Flacco did get the start in Cleveland last time he was there, Njoku went crazy. He almost had 1,000 yards receiving as a tight end. So this team, and like Jim, you mentioned it, Browns defense is no slouch either. Myles Garrett, they got some other, players that are trying to fight for positions, and it's making that defense hungry. Like, I am very curious to see that game. To me, is going to be one of the games to watch because I'm very curious to see just how like the Browns offense, if it is at all even average, we'll just say if it's an average offense with that defense, they're gonna have some upsets. They're gonna be a tough team to out. So
right, because we've talked about even the lack of defense on the other side with Cincinnati. So
right,
it's gonna be a good matchup, even though people think again the Browns, blah blah blah.
There's a lot of them too.
Divisional matchups are always close, and that's what we got week 1. So there's a bunch of them.
I will say this though, for week 1, there's a lot of really good matchups. Like for week 1, like there's a lot. Texans, Rams, Lions, Packers, Niners, Seahawks, like, and Ravens, Bills. Like there's a lot of them, like key matchups that are going to really be interesting to see what comes out on top of every one of those type of games. Definitely. But
all right, so that being said, Joe, let's get right into the picks then, right? Pick segment. Week 1, here we go. 2025 week 1 is here, Joe. Thursday night, September 4th. We've got the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, the returning champions, the Eagles at home. Cowboys, again, Michael Liss. Again, I feel like when they made that move, yes, I get the compensation they're getting, but they pretty much wrote off this season. So I think it's going to be a downhill tick here for these guys. And then facing the buzzsaw that is the Philadelphia Eagles week 1, I think they're going to get punched in the mouth. I like the Eagles on this one.
Yeah, I mean, Eagles are home. Like, that's a tough place to play, And for the Cowboys, like obviously they're without Micah now, and it's definitely going to leave a long lasting impression on that defense. Trevion Diggs kind of just got cleared to play, so I'm not really sure how rusty he's going to be at corner. So I'm very interested to see how the Cowboys defense kind of comes together and is able to kind of try to prevent the Eagles from scoring.
Mhm.
But the Eagles, I think, are going to have way too much firepower for them. They are way more complete of a team than the
Mm,
Cowboys.
yeah.
And I think the Cowboys offensively can hang with the Eagles
Mhm.
because,
Mhm.
like last year, the Eagles are going to, they're going to be like a balance, but they're also going to run heavy too.
Mhm.
So, um, I think that's gonna help chew the clock up, but the Cowboys do have the players to strike back right away, so it might keep this game interesting and right down to the wire, but I got the Eagles finishing on top.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So next Friday night, we've got a game here, Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers in Sao Paulo, Brazil. That's the first time they're
Neutral
playing
field.
in Brazil, right? Yeah. So yeah,
Neutral.
I know. So like you said, well, it's like when the Chargers are home anyways, isn't it neutral field, or is it basically to
Oh,
the
no, it goes to the
visiting team?
visiting
The
team.
visiting team?
Yeah, it's a visiting team thing. They
So
don't have
no
a home.
different. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this game plays out. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. But Kansas City Chargers, it's a good one. Friday night lights. Uh, again, Chargers, I think will be better. Kansas City, I feel like this is a must-win game, and I don't know, it's gonna be close, but I'm not surprised if the Chargers kind of pull this one out. So seeing as though it's a neutral field, I'd say Kansas City, when they return home to the kingdom, they have
Oh my
all their
god.
weapons there too. I would say that they have a better shot of winning, but I think Kansas City, they get a slow start a lot of times. We've seen teams like the Jets play them hard and whatnot, the Lions.
Right.
So I think they get kind of punched in the mouth here by Jim Harbaugh and stuff in the Chargers. So I think the Chargers surprise them here and get the win.
Yeah, when it got to this game, I looked at this earlier, and I'm just like, "Man, what can we expect?" I mean, what all we can expect is what exactly they did last year.
Yeah.
Because think about it. Malcolm Brown is not available. He won't be able to play.
Mhm.
You got Rashi Rice, who's suspended for 6 games. You don't have those guys, but you have everybody else from last year, basically.
Mhm.
You got Noah
Mhm.
Gray, you got Travis Kelce, and you got Xavier Worthy, the speedster.
Yep.
So it's like
Yep.
expect much of the same from last year, the way they ran their offense and everything, and they're going to utilize the run game because obviously now they got Pacheco back in full
Yep.
health, so
Yep.
you're going to see a healthy dose of him, and you know, kind of like a committee approach in the backfield, but they are supposed to have an improved offensive line. They are supposed to have a better left tackle. Josh Simmons got drafted by them. He's going to start. I'm very curious to see how he handles Khalil Mack, who's going to have to
Mhm.
deal with sometimes. Um and that right there is going to. I'm curious to see the rookie moments if it bothers him, if the spotlight is too bright. But I think in this game, it's gonna come to physicality. It's going to be who's the more dominant, more physical team, and that's gonna be the team that comes away with the win. The Chargers are one of those bully mentality type of teams, and the Chiefs, to me, in my opinion, they're more of a finesse team. They're a team that can hit you over the top and have these splash plays and even when the play is broken down, they somehow make something out of nothing. Chiefs has a really good defense. Not it's in Brazil, like you were saying, Jim. So like Chiefs, Chargers, man, it could go literally either way. I think I'm gonna stick with the Chiefs on this one, just because more times than not, it comes down to coaching in these fine moments. And Andy Reid, I have a hard time picking against him. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
All right. Next down, we've got all of our full lineup. Every team's playing this week. Sunday, September 7th. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. We've heard all probably the last 3-4 weeks, especially that Rise Them Up. The Rise Dirty Birds has been with us, one of our know it alls. It's repeating over and over again. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have lost to the Atlanta Falcons, both games,
Mhm.
during the season. So you can just pencil this one up for Atlanta. Atlanta at home, Mercedes-Benz Stadium here, but I'm not going to. again, because I think even the difference last year was Kirk Cousins was your starter. He knows Todd Bowles' defense. He's seen him that many million times, has notes on it for the past decade. I think that was a big game changer and a big moment for them, and he just stepped up in it. Like you said, Michael Penix Jr., he can only get better here, but I'm not sure again. I want to see more. And it's going to be a tough team to kind of do it against a rival. So hopefully he can step up week one here and pull it off and deliver for them. But I'm skeptical. So I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this one.
Well, I'm not skeptical on either team. I think they're both going to be really good teams this year. Michael Penix Jr. Don't be too concerned because it's his first time starting. He's already had a little bit of experience last year, and I'm really curious to see how they utilize these weapons with him. I know that Kyle Pitts has been kind of getting nitpicked on. He was rumored to be traded away from Atlanta this offseason. That never happened. But all I kept seeing was like Michael Penix feeding Kyle Pitts. Michael Penix throwing the ball to Darnell Mooney. Michael Pitts just getting the ball distributed where he needs to. And I love what I saw. And furthermore, for the Falcons on defense, they've done a great job adding young talent on that defensive side and a defense that I think is going to be one of their strengths this year. The Buccaneers, their roster from head to toe is just stacked. They are very complete and they have a lot of explosive type of players where I think that's going to be the difference. It's not so much can the Falcons handle it? Yes, they know that each other very well. However, I think that the Buccaneers kind of like the Eagles. They in that division, the Buccaneers are ready to win now more than the Atlanta Falcons are. I got the Buccaneers getting the win.
All right, Cincinnati Bengals in Cleveland. We talked about this one earlier. This potentially could be a trap game again. Cleveland at home really steps up. That good defense.
Mhm.
It's gonna be tighter, I think, than normal. You would think again, expecting, especially with Cincinnati, the way their offense is. I think they're going to still be able to score points. That defense is going to be tough, but will their defense hold up? Either way, I'm still sticking with Cincinnati. I think they do get this win and get off to a quicker start, especially because they need to. Because again, they've got a lot of tough competition down the road.
Yeah, I mean, how great of a start is that for Cincinnati? It's never happened, has it? Like for them, like with Joe Burrow at the helm.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
when's the last time they were 1-0 to start the season? So it
Mhm.
always seems like they're always losing multiple games. But for the Bengals and Browns, definitely going to be a tough grind out type of game. Going to be very physical because it is a divisional type of game. But I got the Bengals offense is so prolific. It's so good. And their offensive line should be better. I know we've
Mhm.
been trying to say that for the last 2 years,
They've been
but
working
they
on it.
have they've made some upgrades and also you're getting back Amarius Sims or Mims. He's coming back in his second year as the right tackle, so maybe he's more comfortable, be able to lock it down for them. And then Bengals defense is healthy now, right now, as we speak. They are a pretty healthy defense, so that is going to help them as well. I like the Bengals going into Cleveland in the doghouse and stealing a win away from them, but I don't think it's going to be easy. This could be the game where it comes down to a field goal in the end.
Absolutely. All right. Next, we've got the Miami Dolphins and the Indianapolis Colts, Joe. This could be a tough one, too. Colts don't know what to expect here. Playing at home, Miami, a lot of people, again, kind of expecting a little bit of a downtick. People even thinking that Mike McDaniels could be on the hot seat later on this season, depending on which trajectory this team goes into. But Indianapolis, I think, is going to play him tough, but we know the way Miami plays. They play fast and hard. They've got a lot of good weapons still, so I think they're going to come at him. Devon Achane too, as well as healthy. So I think that's a key factor for them. I think it's going to be closer than normal with that defense and that defensive front that the Colts have. But again, Daniel Jones on the other side too as well. Does he turn into a turnover machine in this one?
We'll see.
Does he get the ghost behind him with the strip sack? We shall see. So I'm intrigued to watch this one just to see how he performs, and then also to see if Tua again gets back to form and what he was pre concussion again last year, where we were talking about debating whether he should retire or not. So, but I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins on this one.
Yeah, this one I think like a high flying offense that like Mike McDaniel's loves to run. He loves to what he loves to do is he just has these high speed plays. Like everything is quick. fast paced, like in your face. Like we're not going to slow down for you guys. So it might come into the game plan where they want to keep that tempo up against the Colts to wear out their D line, to wear out their defensive players, and keep them on the football field, prevent them from rotating guys in, and kind of wear them down through the course of the game. That could be their game plan for the Colts. Like Daniel Jones, I mean, at what point where he's going to get flushed out of the pocket, does he trip over his own feet again, or is he going to stay on them and continue to run? Because he does have a set of wheels, like he is
Mhm,
faster than you
mhm,
think.
mhm.
So that maybe that's part of their game plan is where they're going to try to utilize maybe Daniel Jones's legs a little bit more and keep the Dolphins defense on their heels. But both teams they've made their necessary improvements on both sides of the ball. But this game right here is kind of weird because they don't normally face each other. They don't understand who they're really going against. So, because of the uncertainty and everything, give me the Dolphins offense against it. Like, I think that this game in particular is going to be one of those games where the Dolphins are going to try to get ahead early, stay ahead throughout the game, and it might make it extremely difficult for Daniel Jones and the Colts to come back from.
All right, let's move on to the Carolina Panthers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both teams again kind of bouncing back here from a dismal season. Bryce Young again looking to do better. You saw some improvement after being benched, last year, but then getting the start again. So we hope that he can improve this year with the addition of weapons. So this can be a tight matchup. You don't know what you're going to get either from Trevor Lawrence. He needs to really step up too because he's one of those players we think that again paid the money to perform. You haven't
Mhm.
yet. Are you a draft bust at this point? Right now, you look like you are. Again, when you were a guy that was supposed to come in and save the franchise, you haven't really done anything yet. Now you've got a new head coach in there who, again, he didn't draft you, so you're there. You're getting evaluated daily. So let's see what you guys can do here. So I like Jacksonville, their defense too on top of this one. So I think this could be a tight matchup, but I'm going to lean with Jacksonville because they're at home and that defense.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of these pivotal points for Jacksonville. Can they get a win at home opening day? Like, can they prove a lot of the doubters, me
Mhm,
included? I'm one of those doubters.
mhm,
Um, can they prove me wrong and say, hey, no, Trevor Lawrence is all right. He's going to be just fine. We're going to be able to win games with him. Is this has got to be one of those games because, like Carolina, to be honest, like they're one of the more younger teams in the NFL.
mhm, mhm,
But man, they just see they keep adding more premier talent every single year. It's making them more dangerous. Now, the Panthers, are going to be out there with Xavier Legette in his second year, Tet McMillan, who they just drafted, the freaking tower that he is at wide receiver. Um, I'm really excited for the Carolina Panthers. I'm excited to see Bryce Young take yet another step forward in his development and really kind of take over this team and lead it the way he was always meant to. Um,
mhm,
the other thing about the Jaguars is their defense is pretty darn solid. Like, they went through some bumps and bruises last year, so
mhm.
maybe it didn't look good statistically, but man, this team has a good defense. So, and I think that's what's going to help them throughout the year to kind of keep them in games. And likewise for the Panthers. Last year, they went through a turmoil of injuries, losing Derek Brown, their number one D lineman in the middle, and other guys like corner. I think they had like a Dante Jackson who was on the Panthers before. He ended up getting injured. Now he's a Steeler. But Carolina, I just like what I see from them. They're a young team. They're a hungry team. And that to me is going to lead me to I'm going to take Carolina. I'm going to take Bryce Young getting his first win of this season and beating the Jags.
All right. Next up, we got the Las Vegas Raiders and the New England Patriots. Again, both teams I think are going to improve from last year. Overall, though, I think I like the changes that New England has done more here. I'm going to go with the Patriots here at home.
Raiders and Patriots. I love the Raiders offense. The defense, on the other hand, to me is a lot to be desired. On the back end, their secondary pretty darn weak. Not a lot of proven commodities there. So I think that's going to be their biggest weakness. And I fully expect the Patriots and Drake May to exploit that, being able to distribute the football and making it really difficult for the Raiders to play catch up, because this honestly could end up being just a shootout. I mean, it really that's what
Mhm.
this game could end up becoming. I know the Patriots have a good defense, but man, uh, I think it's going to be one of these games where, like, and the other concerning thing for
Mhm.
the Raiders too is, let alone their defense, but the fact that they got to travel to the East Coast on a 1 o'clock game.
Mhm.
It's going to feel to
Mhm.
them like they're playing early morning, like real early morning. So
Yep.
that
Yep.
definitely does come into factor as well. So I think with that and the fact that like they have that weak secondary, I'm going to go with the Patriots at home.
All right, next we got the Arizona Cardinals and the New Orleans Saints. Arizona, I think, is one of those teams that's gonna be, a kind of sneaky team. I think they got a potential chance to make the playoffs. I like what Gannon has done with them. So I'm saying this next year, they could do better here. Again, get another solid year from their tight end too. I think would be solid to especially help their wide receiver crew too to get better. Facing the New Orleans Saints, so again, who have gotten way too old. They've put themselves in cap trouble.
Every year they're in cap
So
trouble.
they're still, yeah, so they're in rough shape. Kellen Moore's got a long road to go here with this team. Again, we saw who they had to choose out of quarterbacks that they had, and Rattler gets the start just because again he played pretty good, but he has the most regular
Experience.
season experience
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I mean, so that counts for something here. So don't rush the young guy into the moment too quickly. So that's where New Orleans is with this one. So I think overall it's going to be Arizona's game to lose here. I like the
Yeah, the
Cardinals.
Saints to me are one of those teams where, like you just mentioned, like they're always seem to be digging themselves out of a hole financially every single offseason, which means that you're not going to be able to hold on to guys that you might have been able to before. Guys that are aging too, like Demario Davis, the linebacker, the guy who's found the fountain of youth somehow, and he just keeps playing like he's 28. You got other guys that are still kind of hanging around, that to me, like they're on their way downward. Like the franchise as a whole is just they just keep slipping, 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 and declining every year, uh, trying to get back into the good graces of the NFL. So, Spencer Rattler being named the starter is interesting to me. I think he's going to do good. I don't think he's going to do, I don't think he's going to do anything special. And this is
Mhm.
going to be basically kind of like a year to where they'll see what works, see what doesn't work, and try to reevaluate next offseason. I don't expect this Saints team to be much of a contender at all. And for the Cardinals, they were a pleasant surprise last year. Like their defense played better than we anticipated, and they've actually improved that defense in the offseason. And then
Mhm. Mhm.
offensively is kind of like for me is where they're lacking. They don't have as many big time playmaking type of wide receivers. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey
Mhm.
McBride, and then the rest of the gang. Like there's nobody
Mhm.
really exciting to kind of help them continue their winning ways. But they do have one hell of a running back in James Conner, and this team
Mhm.
seems to work well with what they got. And with the defense that they
Mhm.
have and Kyler Murray, I think that they're going to end up easily winning this game.
Yep. All right. So next up, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Jets. We talked about this team here. We
Yes.
feel, and you brought up Pittsburgh as a must win here. And I think you do. Again, you're going to New York. It's probably going to be hostile
Oh
again
yeah.
because Aaron Rodgers
Oh
really
yeah.
did a whole lot for them at all.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't beloved at all. He was sent there to be the
Yeah.
savior too. Everybody bought the jersey and now they burned them all, I'm sure. And we're smoking some ayahuasca too on top of it, So they don't want to see his face ever again, I'm sure. So Pittsburgh, he goes there to play the Jets. The Jets are going to play good D. I think the run game is the key to success here and get that going. So then Jalen or Justin Fields doesn't have to, do a lot himself to force himself into turnovers and make mistakes. But Pittsburgh, I think, again, with that still, even though veterans, I think good defense. Aaron Rodgers, the veteran, breaking down what they're going to do. He knows the Jets now, too. He knows the locker room. Some of those guys are all
Mhm.
still there. So it's going to be tough for him. But I think overall, you still got DK Metcalf on top of it. Jalen Warren in the running game, too. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers here on this one. Plus, Freiermuth. Freiermuth, I think, is going to have a day on this
Yeah, the
one.
Steelers
because the Jets don't play good against tight ends either.
The
So
Steelers went through and they've made it known with all their moves and that they think they can win
Mhm.
now. And it's got to start week one. They've always had traditionally a very good defense, solid defense. Mike Tomlin's still holding it down as a head coach, continues to thrive and hold on to that seat despite any kind of turmoil. And the Steelers' offense should be better. It should be. Like, they do have a good young offensive line. I know they kind of went the other way with the quarterback. Now they got one of the oldest quarterbacks in the league, distributing the football. But Dickie Metcalf, like that, I think that's going to be one of the more exciting things that everybody's interested to see, like the connection between him and Rodgers. Uh, I also kind of in hopes of seeing like someone else emerging opposite DK Metcalf. Maybe it's Roman Wilson, the second year receiver. Maybe it's Calvin
Mm.
Austin, who kind of has made his impression last year. So very curious to
Mhm.
see what they do other than DK. And then for the Jets, I still think they got a really good defense. Like, they have the personnel still there. There's no reason why they can't be one of the better defenses in the league. And it's going to come down to the offense. Justin Fields, can you make the throws? Because you're going to have to. Yeah, and you're gonna have to be smart with the football. You're not gonna be able to run your way out of harm's way all the time, and this is another team you're facing a team with a very good defense in the Steelers. Guess what their game plan is? Stopping the run, stopping Breece Hall, stopping Justin Fields, and that's it. They're gonna make Fields throw the football. It's gonna be up to him. You gotta step up as a quarterback this time, so let's see if you can do it. I got Pittsburgh.
All right. Next, we got the Giants and the Washington Commanders. Commanders at home. Um, I think this one's going to be closer
Right.
than people think,
Yes.
just because again, uh, people don't recall even last year the Giants pretty much almost
Mhm.
beat Washington, both
Right.
times. And Washington basically was just that team that one of those teams every year a team gets hot and goes through and
Yes.
makes it, and they happen to hit other teams that were rested off of a bye week and in the right position to where they were and made a good run. Good quarterback playing well. They did make additions. They did get better. So I think Washington is a good
Oh,
team
yeah, real
still.
good team.
I just think they're not top elite team in the NFC though. I think they're really
Well,
good,
the Eagles
but they
are.
can be beat a bunch of teams. Yeah, right. Exactly. So I think the Giants can go toe to toe with these guys, especially now that they got Russell Wilson here. So I'm not surprised if the Giants can pull off a win against Washington
Mhm.
this season. But with this home opener and Washington being at home, I'm going to ride with the Commanders here. And then also, I always pick against the
You
Giants
do.
every year, as
Yeah.
everybody knows.
So this
So
isn't
hopefully that they
let's
win.
be let
So this is
let's
my
just be honest.
strategy.
This isn't strategy, everyone. Like, this guy just picks against his team all the time no matter what. So,
I do. I
uh,
know everybody
so
even says, "How could you do that?"
it's not even a pick.
Uh,
But anyway,
I do.
but yeah, so the Giants, they definitely made some big strides adding highly talented players
I'm-
where there were some voids on the defensive end. And
mhm,
they've managed
mhm.
to correct that. And now you look at what they've
Yep.
done with their offense, actually having a legit quarterback, a guy who's a proven commodity, who can distribute the football, who can be smart with it, not turn it over and make reckless decisions. So this Giants team is going to be a big time contrast to what they were last year. Obviously, it comes down for the Giants, like, the protection up front has to hold. It has to hold long enough to give Russell Wilson a chance to get rid of that football. I think if they can do that, that's gonna be the determination of this game. Washington, as good as they are, as special as Jaden Daniels is, and Terry McLaurin and everybody else on that team, like,
Mhm,
they've
mhm.
improved their secondary with their corners. So that, to me, this game right here is going to be a true 12 round grind out boxing match. And there's not going to be much players left after this one because they're all going to be just hitting the ice baths after this one. I got stunningly the Giants getting their first win of the
Mm,
season in Washington.
mhm. Wow, man.
Does he look like a bitch?
No. And that's what I think is kind of funny, right? So what if the Giants come out and win this game? what's the narrative there? The Giants, to where everybody thinks they're pretty much the worst team or second to worst team in the NFL, got a tough schedule, and they go about and beat, Washington Commanders, who's everybody's hot commodity darling right now to kind of roll with because of what run they did last year. But they kind of look past the fact that, again, they're not a complete team, though. They're a good team, but the Giants, again, with having a former Super Bowl champion, almost two-time Super Bowl champion, if it wasn't for a Malcolm Butler interception, which I swear is pass interference, it would be called if it was the Chiefs, two times. So you got that veteran here leading your squad here, and you've improved your defense, like you said. Not out of the realm of them pulling out this victory, Joe. So I see where your head's out, but what would the headlines be as we see overreaction Monday from week one?
Yeah,
What everybody would be thinking about the
it
Commanders.
would be overreaction for Giants fans being like, "Oh, see, we told everybody we're gonna run the division. We're winning it all." And then on the Commander side, it'd be like, "It's only week one. Yeah, we lost one game. No big deal. We'll come back week two." That's it.
All right, next we've got the Tennessee Titans and the Denver Broncos. Yeah, it's a tough one for the Titans. It's a tough one for Cam Ward to visit Denver, week one. So it's going to be a tough outing. I think Tennessee's defense, again, I like what Jeffrey Simmons has done. It gets kind of overlooked over there being in Tennessee. But they're a growing team right now. So I think you can only do so much. I mean, interested to see what he can do against this team, but I think overall Denver's just a better off team. I'm going to go with the Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos are at home. They're one of the best defenses in the league currently. Bo Nix in his second year with under the same offensive system. It's just it's too much for the Broncos. Too much momentum for them. Going into this season. Now Titans. Here's the problem. Cam Ward, rookie quarterback, going into a hostile environment, and it's not like Cam Ward has multiple playmakers at his disposal. He's got Calvin Ridley and maybe his tight end Chiga Quanklo. That's it. Like there's not Tyler Lockett. Give me a break. The dude can barely move with a wheelchair on the field. Like he's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be that much of an impact type of player. So, I like the Titans though to upset some people, but this won't be the week. I think the Broncos are going to be way too much for Tennessee.
All right, next up, we've got the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks rivalry game at the 12th man. I know it's always tough to play there in Seattle. They get wicked loud, but again, like I said, I feel like Seattle is kind of sold in on fool's gold again here. I think overall the defense is really good. Mike McDonald here, he's got that team set up here on defense, so I think that's going to keep them into games here. San Francisco, I'm looking to see how Brock Purdy kind of steps up this season, as not having his weapons last year kind of looked a lot smaller, and inefficient. So I'm looking to see him bounce back this year, full healthy squad. And, Parasol, see if he can develop into something better. And also you got George Kittle as well there. So, but losing some guys on defense. So I'm interested to see where that balances out. But overall, I think it's going to be a tough matchup. I'm going to take San Francisco.
Yeah, both teams went through a little bit of a transition this offseason. Niners and Seahawks both. Obviously, you already talked about Sam Darnold, new quarterback there. They don't have DK Metcalf. They don't have, Tyler Lockett anymore. Like, they basically have Smith and Jibba, and then whoever else wants to step up. I know I keep hearing rumors about, that there's a young rookie that's kind of, emerging as a starting receiver for them. I think his name is Torrey Horton or something like that, similar to that. But he's starting to make an impression there. So we'll see who steps up on that side. And then the Niners, you talked about it. Brock Purdy missing pretty much everybody last year. Really got that offense got derailed. Christian McCaffrey's healthy again. Christian McCaffrey is going to be the bell cow for this team, passing and rushing. And then the only guy he's still missing, Juwan Jennings, by the way, I got the injury report. He is going to be playing this game, even though they are still trying to work out a new deal. But Brandon Ayuk is going to be shut down, still not healthy enough to come back and play. So he'll be without Ayuk, but everybody else. And like you mentioned, Ricky Parasol, he's been killing it in preseason. So Get the Niners and the Seahawks. It's going to be a battle. I kind of expect this to be a low scoring game, lower than maybe some people might anticipate. But I think the Niners are going to get a win here. I think the Niners are going into the 12th man and they're going to get a win to start their season.
All right. This has got to be the game of the week, or at least maybe, well, if it's not
Nah,
overshadowed by Buffalo,
yeah, that's it.
Baltimore,
That's the
Buffalo,
one.
Baltimore has
That's
got
the
to be the
one.
game. But this one I think is very intriguing. It's an inter division game again.
Yeah.
Detroit Lions at Green Bay Packers. Um, Man, normally with this one too, I might even say Detroit on this one because I like overall a lot of the talent that they
Right.
have. But given the fact that Green Bay's at home and they do have Micah Parsons
Mhm.
now again, so it's not like he has to learn a whole lot with
Yeah.
this defense. They're like, you go
Go
get
get
ball,
ball. Yeah.
go. You know what I mean? So have that on that and that pressure on Jared
Mhm.
Goff. We saw him last year get
Yeah.
pressured in the postseason, and again, not looking like himself. So if he gets rattled a little bit here by this Green Bay, pass rush here, this could be a tough outing here. So I think Detroit's got to stay poised. They got to run the ball with their two guys, the two-headed backs here, and Jameer Gibbs, Montgomery, get it going, get it out to his weapons that he likes. So this could be a close
Yeah, they're
matchup,
tough.
man. So tight, but I think being week one, I don't know if Detroit can pull it off here, especially in Wisconsin. I think I'm going to take the Packers at home on this.
Yeah, this is a difficult game for sure because both teams come in pretty equal. Both have good offensive lines, both have quarterbacks. Well, but we still have yet to see can Jordan Love return back to what the other version of himself that we saw where he was successful. Um, you can't argue the fact that both teams have good defenses. They both do. Obviously,
Mhm.
Micah Parsons heightens the Packers defense a little bit, right?
Yeah.
uh,
No,
but
you think?
but this is going to be a really good matchup for Lions and Packers. I'm curious to see how this all unfolds. Like part of me almost wanted to go Lions with this pick because I still think they're going to be able to pass protect really well, even though Mike is going to be coming off one edge, Rashawn Gary on the other. But man,
Mhm.
it's tough. Like, and I think because I'm trying to split hairs, that's why I'm going to lean on the home team. I'm going to go with Green Bay in this one, and the Packers. You know, in their
Yeah.
debut at home, getting their win.
Right. Because I think even when times were tough last year, even though they won a lot
Mhm.
of games, when times were tough in some of those games that they edged out and won, they really relied on some of those trick plays that they had run with, under, Ben Johnson's offense. It's I always do this trick play out to Sam Laporta or Penei Sewell gets one. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It was some weird stuff. The whole fake fumble thing by Jared Goff and then the whole talk, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, are we going to see any of that
I
this year
don't
at
think we're
all?
gonna see that much
You know?
creativity with the Lions. I think it's gonna be pretty straightforward. I mean, Ben Johnson, obviously a good offensive mind, was able to come up with those unique plays. And not to say that the next man up mentality, he can't do the same thing, but he's already proven, right? Like and that's what
Mm,
allows a guy like Ben Johnson to get away with doing things like that is because he is proven. He's been there, done that. I think
mhm.
the coordinators, offense and defensively for the Lions, they're not going to go that far out on a limb just yet until they might be a little bit more proven themselves.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, maybe he'll get creative with Caleb Williams. Like Caleb Williams drops back and then he acts like he's doing his nails. And then all of a sudden it's like,
Oh
oh
wait,
wait, no, he doesn't have the ball. It's over there. It's like everybody was just looking at him like, what the is he doing? He's doing his nails. Oh shit, the ball's over there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Bears then, huh? All right. So getting to the next game, we're almost there, Joe. Houston and Rams. This is
oh
going to
man,
be
such
a
a
nice
good
matchup
game.
too, because
Oh,
AFC, NFC, two good teams. Houston, again, I think they got a bad taste in their mouth. Feel like they've been denied last year. Even though on a down year with CJ
mhm,
Stroud. So I think this year he's going to bounce back a little bit. Rams, I think, are still a good team. I know you're concerned about Matthew Stafford and his health, which there is a good
mhm.
concern for that, but at home, it's the first game of the year starting. They're balanced on defense, offense. Matthew Stafford again. I don't know. I don't think I can bet against them here, so I'm going to go with the Rams here.
Yeah, I think again, this is one of those matches where they're pretty equal across the board.
Mhm.
I think the Texans have a really good defense. So don't the Rams, and it was proven last year with their two rookies kind of emerging and taking over. Uh,
Mhm.
Offensively, they're also equal. I mean, the Texans have a
Yeah.
plethora of wide receivers to distribute the football. Nico
Mhm.
Collins is going to be their go-to guy. I still don't know, is it going to be Puka Nakua or is it going to be Devontae Adams as the favorite? And I have to assume that Puka Nakua is going to continue to be the favorite guy to go to from
Yeah.
Stafford. He's so comfortable with them. But man, this is going to be one hell of a matchup. I love, both teams, but I kind of like the Texans secondary a little bit more stingier, and I think that's what they're going to need going into LA. I'm going to go against the grain on this one, and I'm going to have the Texans kind of upset the Rams,
Sure.
getting their win to start their season.
Sounds good. Yeah, and again, with this matchup, I'm interested. It's going to be cool, I think, to see Puka Nacua on one side and
Devontae
then
Adams,
Devontae Adams
yeah,
on the other. You know what I mean? With the way they play, just they're different, but the way they play all together too, and put it all
it's
out there,
interesting because
it's going to be fun to
yeah, because
watch.
Puka Nakua for the most part he lines up a lot in the slot. And Devontae
Hmm.
will be out. Like there's going to be times when you see them
Yeah,
next to each other. He's going to be on the opposite side of them, like, and you're going to see
yeah.
motion and all that good stuff. So I'm very intrigued to see that as well.
All right, here we go. Sunday night football. The Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. Buffalo at home. Circle the wagons. This could be this could be a
Yeah,
tough
it is.
matchup. And this is a
Yeah,
playoff
it is.
game.
It's
Playoff game.
basically a
You know what I
playoff
mean?
game. Yes.
Of biblical
Yeah.
proportions, right? Uh yeah. So I mean, you could flip a coin and go anybody on this one. Buffalo, again, you want to say that they're the favorite. They've done it multiple times here against Baltimore. But I don't know. I just feel like Baltimore is the better team, even though Buffalo is everybody's darling. You know, they are tough to play at home,
Mhm.
but I just like the Ravens altogether. I mean, you can't deny what Lamar Jackson has done. You've got Derrick Henry, you've got some weapons in offense on the receiving core, you got the defense, Kyle Hamilton. You know, I mean, it's crazy. So I think I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one. I think Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills don't get it done week 1. I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah. This game is another one of those games where it's like pretty even matchup. They know each other pretty well, having faced each
Mhm.
other numerous
Yeah,
times.
playoff.
Um,
Yeah. Mhm.
I do agree with you, Jim, in a sense where like the Ravens as a team to me is a little bit more complete and are a little bit more, you know, tested, I guess.
Mhm.
That to the point where like I feel like with the Bills could still pull this game off. No question
Oh, yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Like, Josh Allen is the enigma in Buffalo, and he's very tough to deal with because, again, he's another quarterback. A little bit. He's definitely a lot different than Lamar Jackson. What he can do, he's more of a more physical type of quarterback, a guy that can run the
Mhm.
ball. So that's what
Mhm.
keeps them in games. The one concern that I have for this game, honestly, for the Bills, is when we went through their rosters and we're kind of breaking them down, it was like, well, they re-signed Tre'Davious White to be a starter? Like, the guy is, like, well above
Yeah.
32. I think he's, like, 34, 35 now. Um, and he's lost a step. He's coming back from an injury
Mhm.
2 years ago, like a major one, and he didn't really play that much when he was with the Rams. So, he lost his job, basically. And now you're gonna come
Yeah.
back to Buffalo and you're penciled in as a starter. Like if I'm licking my chops, if I'm Baltimore and saying we're gonna cook you, like we like you're gonna be the weak spot that we attack. And just like overall, like you look at the D line too, that's changed. Like Joey Bosa is supposed to be kind of
Mhm.
like that next big time guy, but this dude gets injured often, all the time. So I think on the back end, it's gonna be a little bit different for Buffalo. Can they kind of rise up to the occasion or not? And because there's those question marks in my head, I gotta go with Baltimore, a team that's beaten them more times than not. And I just like what the Ravens have rolling with them. More physical, they're gonna be a running team. Like this is gonna be a battle for sure, but I just tend to think that the Ravens are gonna pull this one out.
Yeah, yeah, again, there's a few different things here. Again, just Buffalo. Again, I think Josh Allen is the key to that whole
And the wide
team, you know?
receivers.
So
Like, they got
Hmm?
Khalil
Yeah.
Shakir and then Keon Coleman. It's like the same receiving core that you had last year.
Yeah, same receivers, and they got Joshua Palmer. I'm like, again, that's not really
He's
scaring me.
okay.
And you
He's
saw like
good.
into playoff time again, implications when it mattered. Josh Allen, had to just throw it out there, and even still, it was a bad throw, catchable ball.
Mhm.
Dawson Knox, I'm sure he even felt
Oh,
terrible
yeah,
not
I know.
coming
I
up
know.
with that. I think it was Dawson Knox, right? Uh, but right there in his hands. But you need that's the time you need a
Yep.
receiver. You know what I mean? You need one of those guys to
Right.
go of it. Joe Burrow's got one. He's got
Mhm.
two. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, you know what I mean? That's why I just wish the Bills decide to go out and try and get this year. You know what I mean? Something. But all right, so there you go. Monday Night Football, September 8th. That's my birthday, Joe. My birthday. And the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. So
Jim, what do you want for your
I'm not
birthday
really
on Monday Night
I'm not
Football?
not to watch this game. Like, I really don't care about this game. I could care less who wins. I'm interested though to see again
It's
if we do see some improvement from Caleb Williams and not just scrambling around to this tough Minnesota defense. They're going to be chasing them down. But I'm intrigued to see my boy, my Michigan man, JJ McCarthy, if he can relax me, bring my emotions down and be like, all right, no, I'm okay. I got this. I can control the Ferrari. I'm good. We're just going, let's
Mhm.
do this. So I'm interested to see what happens with that squad and see what they do. See if they hand the ball off a little bit more with Aaron Jones to try and keep it a little more balanced. Even though we've got a shit ton of weapons out there. So I like Minnesota, I think, on this one, even though Chicago does play really well at home. And they've got a really good defense. But I think I'm going to just still ride with Minnesota and Kevin O'Connell. Trust in Kevin.
it's interesting because you got two quarterbacks, one that has 1 year of experience but didn't have the greatest year.
Mm-hmm.
You got JJ McCarthy, who literally hasn't started for this team at
Started a
all. This is
game.
his
Yeah.
debut,
Yeah.
and they're both young. It's basically Michigan versus USC at quarterback, and
Mm-hmm.
both teams have good defenses. That's the thing, is like they both have good defenses. I would say that the Bears have an advantage offensive line wise. I think they're a little bit more complete there. But both teams have weapons. It's going to be a interesting night, to be honest with you. But I gotta say I got more confidence in JJ McCarthy as a quarterback, even though we really haven't seen him on the football field, than I do
What?
Caleb Williams. I mean, the guy who's been a complete disappointment for the most part. So I got to go with JJ. I got to go with this Vikings team and JJ
All
McCarthy
right.
because from what I have seen this offseason, this is a kid that has no he doesn't fall short with confidence at all. This dude
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
super
No.
confident. He delivers the football with integrity, with determination, and he has legs too. He can run. We've seen
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
happen at Michigan. We saw it in the offseason and preseason. So I like the Vikings a little bit more than Chicago. Give me the Minnesota Vikings to get their win.
All right, there you go. And there's our week one picks. And everybody knows week one we suck in our picks. So let's see what happens this week again and see how poorly our record is. But we always tend to bounce back and perform well
Well,
towards
to
the
be
end
fair,
and
it
have
is
a pretty
just
good record.
week
So
one. We don't even know
you
these
just don't
teams.
know. Yeah,
Like
we don't know. Yeah,
obviously
exactly.
we know who they are. We know their personnel and all that, but every year's different. I mean, it's just the matchups are
Right. And
different.
every
Like,
a lot of teams look good on
yeah,
paper until they
right,
play and face each other.
right.
So I mean, you know what I mean? It's about matchups
We
and
might
things like
come
that.
in,
So
next show and be like, "Hey, we went 500, guys. Sorry."
that would be good. A good week for us
For
for
week
week
one,
ones,
it
Joe.
would be.
Oh man, I think I've seen some threes. I mean, it's been bad, but thank you so much everybody for joining us with the show and sticking tight with us. Hope you guys enjoyed it and you're excited to watch some games this week, this season starting. So now we've got a bunch of Sundays in a row, a bunch of holidays. So we're gonna have football. So super excited to get
Yes,
back into
sir.
it. A bunch of the different topics we're gonna get into, different segments. You guys are coming along with the ride with us, so we really appreciate it out there.
Yeah,
Joe, send us out
just
one more
wanna
time with
say
how we can get some more
appreciate
shows here.
everybody in the comment section that has commented. We love you guys. That's what makes the show
Even you,
fun.
Nate.
It makes the show
Hmm.
fun, honestly. Like when you guys comment, you guys give opinions or questions or whatever. That's what makes the show even better. But listen, Tell a friend to tell a friend, spread the love, tell everybody all about the show. Make sure you hit the thumbs up when you get over to our channel. Hit that subscribe button as well. Lock it in and tune in next week because we're going to be reviewing week 1, showing you just how bad we did, and then going on to week 2. So lock in, everybody. It's going to be one hell of a ride. And for all you college football fans, a lot of crazy stuff happened Saturday, and it's going to make this football season truly an amazing season. So let's go.
All right. We'll see you guys in the next one.